Back on NFL Live, we go to Dallas OTAs, where CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons are both skipping these voluntary workouts. They angle for new contracts in Dallas, of course. Their quarterback also wants a new deal, but is at the Star practicing today. Dak Prescott was asked about getting in reps with his young wideouts while Lamb holds out.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to count on one of these guys who's getting some of the reps that CeeDee would, right? And so I think that's the important part for these guys to understand that these are real reps, and for me and everybody else, as I said, it's in a sense it's okay that he's not here. That's a big time player, and he's training. We know what he's doing. We know that he's fine. I've thrown with him a couple of times. I think last time he asked me, I said no, and he's ready to go. He looks like CeeDee Lamb. So the fact these young guys can get in here, they can hear everything, they can communicate, they can understand what I want on routes will be big, and we're going to need some of those guys.
Yeah, no doubt. The ball will be going to CeeDee Lamb either way. ESPN Cowboys reporter Todd Archer joining us now. Todd, take us inside today's practice down in Dallas today.
Yeah, Laura, well, let's start with the wide receivers and some of the young guys that Dak had mentioned, and we'll get to an old guy as well. But the young guys, Jalen Tolbert, a third-round pick from a couple years ago, 22 catches last year. The Cowboys believe he's ready to make another jump as he enters his third year. Had some nice catches. Again, it's OTAs, you don't want to get carried away, but did some nice things today. Jalen Brooks, seventh-round pick from a year ago, another guy that they're banking on to see him make a big jump. But the guy that stood out the most today was the old guy, Brandon Cooks. Now, he's only 30, but he can still run. And Dak and him, the connection that they developed late last season, they really showed it off today with 3 deep balls, beating the Cowboys defensive backs. And for all the defensive backs, no, I'm not picking on you because we know you can't go up and compete right now to make sure no one gets hurt.
Yeah, you're not picking on him. You're just trying to get people excited about the offense without CeeDee Lamb in attendance. I got what you're doing there. Also, old farts at 30 years old. That's what it is, right, Todd? Thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm much older than that, so.
Yeah, well, so am I. 5 years older at least. The Cowboys haven't shelled out much money so far this offseason. They've spent an NFL low $22.7 million in guaranteed money for their core guys like Dak and CeeDee Lamb up for these big paydays. But Dallas brought back Zeke Elliott after Tony Pollard's departure and signed all-pro linebacker Eric Kendricks. And they lost O-line vets Tyler Biadasz and Tyron Smith, but took 3 offensive linemen in the draft to address that void. Coach, 2 of the biggest stars on the team are not there working out. If you're Mike McCarthy, how would you go about making the most out of the practice time without them?
Well, Dak mentioned it. The young guys are going to get more reps. That's not a problem. Look, I went through this with Larry Johnson when I was at Kansas City, our star player. OTAs, he was trying to get a contract done. And what I did is I called Larry every day to make sure he was doing okay. That's all I cared about. I wasn't worried about the reps. Look, those 2 stars you just talked about, they're going to be a part of this Cowboy football team. So you don't worry about that. My communication was more important to the players. And I told the team, I said, guys, don't worry about those 2 guys. They'll be here. I'm talking to them every day. They're fine. And I think Mike's going to handle it that way, knowing that, you know what, these 2 guys will be there when the season starts. They got a lot of money in Dallas. We looked at the beginning of this show, and our reporter was standing there in front of all those trophies. Those trophies were won last time in 1995. They have a lot of dust on them. So they understand Dallas is under the spotlight this year. They always win 12 games. They won a division last year. They were 5-1. But when they enter the playoffs, those 2 guys that are not at OTAs, they got to play good.
Yeah, I completely agree from the standpoint that the young guys got to step up and get the reps. And, I mean, let's be honest, guys. Like, these are OTA days, organized team activities. By the time we get to training camp, nobody's going to care what happened during OTAs. This is for you to come in, get you some conditioning, meet with the guys. The coaches can see you. You can work out. If you need to learn the playbook, if you're nursing an injury, at the end of the day, that's kind of what this is for. And I get it. We're going to make a big deal about it. But during my playing time, I missed several OTA days. I've seen several guys miss OTA days. They are what they are. I think the biggest thing for the Cowboys, though, if you're going to be a team that's going to be top-heavy, and here's what I mean by that. They have holes, but their stars are going to have to carry the weight. CeeDee, Dak, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, they're going to be a top-heavy football team. You want your guys happy and healthy. Right now, it seems like everyone is healthy, but not everyone is happy because Dak needs a contract, CeeDee needs a contract, and Micah needs a contract. And I think at some point before the season starts, the Cowboys are going to have to address all 3 of those.
But were you missing OTAs because you needed a contract back in your day?
I missed OTA days because I just didn't want to go because you don't get paid as much during OTA days as you do during regular season, Laura. We're only making like $1,000 a week, and I know that's a lot of money, but you compare that to what we make during the season, some guys are making $250,000 a week. So, yeah, I booked, stayed at home during some OTA days.
Book said, I'm going to do my own OTAs. That's a lot of money either way. Goodness.
Exactly.
Hey, big expectations for the Cowboys either way. A reminder that they open on the road against the Browns in week 1.